let us identify the properties of a rhombus. A rhombus is a figure in which all sides are equal. All sides are equal, which means that AB will be equal to BC, will be equal to CD, will be equal to DA. So, all sides are equal. Second property, if you observe in a rhombus, if I join the diagonals AC and BD, they are going to intersect, let us say at a point O, and like a square, they are also going to intersect each other at 90 degrees. So, here we can say second property of a rhombus, that diagonals intersect each other at 90 degrees. Then what about the angles ABCD? In square we saw that all the angles were equal to 90 degrees. However, in case of a rhombus, the angles are not 90, but the opposite angles will be equal. So, angle A will be equal to angle C, they are opposite angles, and angle B will be equal to angle D. So, only the opposite angles of a rhombus will be equal. Now, if this is 60, this will be 60, and this is 120, this is 120, and so on and so forth. So, the angle A and B, however, will be different. And a rhombus, if you observe, will have four sides as in any quadrilateral, and these, out of these four sides, the two sides AB and CD are parallel to each other, and AD and BC are parallel to each other. So, this in fact is a parallelogram, and a rhombus with four sides equal and opposite sides equal will also be referred to as a parallelogram. Here, if you look at the diagonals will not be equal to each other. So, AC and DB will not be equal. However, in a square they were found to be equal. So, you can be asked to differentiate between a square and rhombus, or you could be asked to find out the similarities between a square and rhombus based on its properties. How is it different from a parallelogram? A parallelogram is a figure in which opposite sides are equal. So, all sides are not equal here, but in a rhombus we saw that all sides are equal. So, a rhombus is a parallelogram, but a parallelogram is not a rhombus. So, look at this parallelogram. We can say that AB is equal to CD and AD is equal to BC, because they are opposite sides of this parallelogram. Secondly, opposite sides are parallel. So, AB will be parallel to CD and AD will be parallel to BC. So, these are the two main characteristics of a parallelogram, that opposite sides are equal and opposite sides are parallel. The diagonals will not be equal, they are of different lengths, but they bisect each other. So, we can say that OA will be equal to OC and OB will be equal to OD. So, diagonals of a parallelogram bisect each other. And next we can also conclude that the opposite angles, just like here in rhombus, the opposite angles are equal. So, A will be equal to C and B will be equal to D. Opposite angles of a parallelogram are also equal. And for rhombus and parallelogram and square and rectangle, since the opposite sides are parallel and equal, the angles which are inside are called the interior angles, and there is a property that the co-interior angles will always give you a total of 180. In the case of square and rectangle, it is 90-90, so it is obvious that it will be 180. But in case of rhombus and parallelogram, if you are given one angle, then the other angle can be found out by subtracting this from 180. So, 180 minus 70, you are going to get 110. So, we can have this property for all the four cases that we have discussed, that sum of the co-interior angles add up to 180 degrees, or we can say they are supplementary. Supplementary means they are adding up to 180 degrees. So, if one angle of a parallelogram or a rhombus is given, we can easily find out all the angles